Thanks very much for your time. Dryad is about wildfire detection and wildfire protection. That's one of the biggest problems we think we're facing right now because it drives climate change with about 20% of global CO2 emissions that can be attributed to wildfires, about 6 to 8 billion tons of CO2 emitted from fires worldwide each year. But there's also a massive financial problem. I guess you've all seen the fires in LA that turned out to be one of the most devastating catastrophes in the United States, with about $250 billion damage from the single event. On average, the US has about $1 trillion damages caused by wildfires, direct and indirect damages caused by loss of business and structures and value. And we're about preventing those with technology. So we're working at Dryad on technology that can prevent those damages with sensors and actuators and networks that actually help to prevent those devastating events that we're seeing too much of in the news today. And how do we do this? I guess you've all heard about satellites and cameras and drones maybe. It's all good. All of these technologies make sense. Satellites are great because they've got a great overview. They can see from space large events. They're not really good at detecting fires at the very early stage though. They're great at preventing fires from coming too big and becoming really disastrous. Cameras are a bit closer. They can see more of larger areas, but they can't see what's happening under the tree canopy. Yet 85% of the fire starts are human-induced. Arson, reckless behavior, technical faults, and accidents are causing the vast amount of fire starts. And those are happening under the canopy, invisible to the cameras. And this is where Dryad is focused on. We're focused on sensors that we actually bring into the forest, and we attach these sensors to the trees. They sit in the forest, embedded under the canopy. Just like you have fire detectors in your home, we put fire detectors in the forest. And that enables us to detect fires as early as the smoldering phase, when you still have an easy chance to put out a fire because it's not gone out of control, because the trees are not burning. It's just the leaves and twigs on the ground. That's when we want to detect a fire before it spreads out of control. And that's the real game changer that we're bringing with SilverNet. Now, this is a solar-powered, AI-driven, fully industrialized product. We've manufactured 40,000 units, sold 20,000 units already of this. But it wouldn't be possible without our networks. So we're also building telecommunications networks in the forest, which is why we call Dryad networks. So we're building solar-powered mesh networks that we also attach to the trees, meaning we are building the Internet of Trees, enabling our sensors to communicate from the very depth of the forest. So we've got an enabling technology with something like the AT&T of the forest, building that Internet of Trees, and then applications that utilize it, plus a cloud-based platform that monetizes the data coming out of the network and enables our device management and alerting for the firefighters using the product. So it's sensors, networks, and cloud platform. We're building this Internet of Trees in a mesh in very large, very remote locations. We have them in the latest version even satellite enabled. So the sensors and the gateways do not necessarily rely on any terrestrial network infrastructure, nor any grid. You can just be installed wherever there are trees that need to be protected. And that's what we have built with SilverNet, the Internet of Trees. Now, we're going to market quite aggressively with this, with low-end prices, because we're going to sell a lot of these. We're going to flood the forest with these sensors and the gateways, enabling high volume, large scale, and then ultra-early detection with our low-cost prices, enabled by a fully industrialized product that we now can produce at about 5,000 units a week. We're selling to private forestry to protect the timber from destruction, but also to municipalities, to governments that want to protect the national parks and the population from the destructive effects of a fire, but also in particular to utilities. Power line companies we have as customers, railroad operators, and solar farms, which all have massive problems with fires that they often create with their infrastructure and face liability issues of. We're selling, as I said, to about 20,000 sensors so far. This year we want to go much higher in terms of products. We've signed deals for more than 50,000 units that go into Asia this year. So we're at the point where we're actually scaling the company. The product is fully industrialized, it's scaled, we have manufacturing outsourced, and we can produce at volume at short notice at a low cost, highly profitable, very reliable product, can last for 10 years in the forest with our long-term contracts. Now we need to scale. And for that, we've built a team in the last 12 months. We now have a world-class management team that I brought on board with Pedro, our CTO, who's leading all the engineering, Martin, an experienced chief operating officer doing our supply chain logistics and customer success. I brought in a very strong and experienced chief sales officer, and probably an oversized CFO who itself is a serial entrepreneur. We're now at 48 employees. We're still very engineering focused with 33 employees because we're building all the products ourselves. But now we're at the point where we're really scaling, and we need to bring hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of these devices into the forest to actually prevent one of our most vital ecosystems at Dryad. Thank you.